check too, Henry. Have you had your dinner?
Yeah.
Did you eat all your salad?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, I have to finish all my salad before I'm allowed on the computer too.
Yeah, and you've got Alessandra as a hard taskmaster.
I do.
All right, come on. You go play with the balloon now.
Sharon,
Hi, I can't hear you actually.
how are you? You can't hear me yet? Just doing some. I think I can hear you, Sharon. Can you hear me yet?
Hello, hello.
Work our way through.
Stephen here.
Stephen, I can hear you, but for some reason this thing's playing funny buggers
Yeah,
with me, and it's
my web.
it's not letting me make you a presenter at the moment. For some reason, it's discriminating against you.
Right. Well, I can't even get video, so it's really
Yeah.
discriminating against me.
It is. Have you had a go at just turning your webcam on to just see if that will facilitate the
Yeah. Let me check.
button there on the control panel?
You mean the webcam from my main settings on my Mac?
Yeah, if you're on your Mac, then no, just be in the go-to webinar control panel.
Oh, I don't actually have it. There's no video thing there at all. It's just a microphone.
Might be why it's not letting me make you a presenter.
That's really weird. I just I clicked on the link like everyone else, I guess.
I don't know why these headphones. Can I use your plug-in headphones? These ones don't work on me for some reason.
Someone's got the
I
hell
can't
on.
hear anyone. Can't use your
All right,
plug-in
so
one.
I'm going to go offline and I'm going to try and log back in, okay, and see if that helps.
Oh, give it a go, mate. Give it a go. We
All
can
right.
be paid. We can work it out as we go.
All right, mate, no
For
worries.
some reason.
I'm just looking at, if you can hear me, folks, and you're just coming into
Yeah, I
the
can
room
hear
at the
Spotify
moment,
through there, but I can't hear web, whatever.
you get your webcam on. So there's a webcam button there. But often you can get in there and get that webcam on, and then we start to appear like the Brady Bunch on everybody's screen. Sent a couple of little requests to people to see if you would unmute yourself. Susan, can you still hear me?
Yep.
Yep, okay, and you're not muted, so that's good. Jacinta's coming in.
Am I muted?
Can you hear me, Adam?
Who said that then?
Jacinta.
Jacinta, I can hear you, but at the moment you're a grey.
Yeah, my webcam is on. It says stop sharing my webcam, but it's not showing anything. I'm sorry. And when I joined, Susan was the presenter. That was really interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So I can hear you all, but I'm sorry I can't show you. My webcam is on. It says it's on.
That's cool.
Sorry
We'll just
about
have to. I think Stephen's starting to work now. Who am I missing here? I've got Kirk here in the room as well. I just want to make sure he gets a chance to.
Can you hear me yet?
Hear for us as well. Kirk, if you can hear us, mate, or see us.
I'm trying to speak, but it's saying.
Ah, there you are. I can hear you.
Oh, all right, good.
All right, we've just got to get your webcam shared if we can in some way.
It's showing that my webcam is shared.
Me too.
You, everyone.
Let me try again to make you a presenter and see if that lets you in again.
Me?
Yeah. Oh, hang on. I've booted. We've got Stephen.
Stephen.
Did we boot someone out then, though? I feel like I lost someone at the same time.
We can't hear you.
We lost Jacinta.
We lost Jacinta. Jacinta, can you still hear us?
No, I'm still here. I'm muted.
You're still there.
Yeah. I can hear you all.
You can hear me and see me.
All right.
I can
so
hear
I'm
and
the teacher.
see everybody.
So I'm the teacher, so
Amazing.
I get to do roll call. Okay, you ready? Adam, are you here? Yes, present. Jacinta, can you hear me?
Yes, and present.
Awesome. Kirk, got me?
Present, Mr. Voigt.
Wonderful work.
I'm
Karen?
just going to turn it. Just going to turn
Yes.
another light on. Hang on.
My Beats headphones
Yeah,
don't seem to work on GoToWebinar.
I think we've got you now, though. I think we're good now.
Yeah, I got these ones, so yeah.
Yeah. Stephen?
I'm
Is this a
here.
good-
I'm just turning another light on so I don't look like I'm in a horror movie.
In the
Susan?
dungeon.
We've got Susan too. But notable absences today. Callum has had some sort of little informal, quirky family crisis bob up, so he can't be here today. I'm not sure about Mark. I think Mark might be away, and I think Paul is coming in at some stage. I'm not really sure. So I'm going to kick off, if that's okay, and just get us moving, and we're just going to let the technology do its thing in between as we go. Stephen and I had a bit of a chat in preparation for today about how wonderful it is when a plan comes together so well that your questions ahead of what today needs to be for you drop down neatly for us into wonderful themes, and how great that is when it happens, and how annoying it is that today it didn't. and how we just went, wow. I said to Steve, where do we start? You know, where do we there's just such diversity from down to really simple practical to philosophical and kind of big picture thinking and ideas. So I thought that I thought it would be almost a little disrespectful to say what I'm going to do is choose a theme anyway and just speak to that. So I thought what we would do is just riff a little today, and Stephen and I discussed that we thought we probably should just be comfortable with the fact that mentoring is allowed to look a lot like facilitation sometimes. You know, that we're just facilitating a conversation that's of service to all the people who are in the room. We're just problem solving together and just trying to drive a conversation that can be valuable to people. So there were bits and pieces that came through that I thought, yeah, I'll have a chat about that with people as we go. I guess the one that was probably big picture that I wanted to point out was Kirk's breakthrough. So first of all, Kirk, congratulations on a fabulous
amazing
sale that you've made there, because I know how hard you've worked to make that sale come to fruition, and how much thinking you put into it, and more than that, I know how much angst goes into getting a sale that achieves traction. So congratulations and well done on that. That notion of traction, I think, is an incredibly important one. Hey, we've got the whole gang getting together now.
I just think so.
It is like a Brady Bunch. Oh gosh.
It is. So I think that traction thing's really important, because it allows you to build some cadence around what works for you. So there are lessons in there, Kirk, about what works and what doesn't for you that are worth examining. There are parts of that process that made it longer that you should pay attention to in terms of getting that program resold. There are parts about getting that program sold that you did artfully that you must cultivate and protect, in the way that you work as well. So I always think that traction is about got to win, great, and now forensically dissecting what is it that got me that win. And it's different for everyone. I reckon it's really, everybody has their own. It's like conducting an autopsy. The cause of death is different for everybody. You've just got to look at it and really find out what is it that was going on here. What was the long burn? What was the immediate causes? And learning from that. And the great thing is that you've now got a body to dissect. You've got something. You've got it sitting there ready to go that I think's fabulous. So I just wanted to start with that. Congratulations, mate. Well done on that for you.
Well, can I just jump in quickly on one thing that went through my head? It's also, Kirk, what did you like? I always often think of these things as getting out of our own way, right? When we actually get out of our own way and then just let the thought leadership speak for itself, and when we've got all the elements in place, the curriculum does its work. I just want to ask, are you aware of anything you stopped doing that you might have been getting in the way before that enabled that sale to happen?
Well, one of the things that came up recently, Carl did a thing on making it, and it's been a theme throughout the thing, is making yourself easy to buy. So
Right.
I knew the CEO of this place, and I knew what she wanted, and I just tried to provide that as simply as possible. There was 17 things we could have talked about, but
Yeah, awesome.
yeah. I just tried to give her, and
That's
being
really
aware
good, mate.
too that I don't have to fit it in all at once, that there'll be further interactions with this group in the years to come.
It's avoiding, I think it's really important that we all catch ourselves occasionally, get caught in our own in the web of our own IP when we're trying to sell. You know, and selling is about access. You know, selling is about them being able to easily see your value. It's not about them being intimidated by how clever we are. You know, it's not about showing off our great deep thoughts. It's about making it easy for people to get the change they're looking for. And I think when we get that separation of green sheet versus pink sheet powers, it can be really bad. And I think what happens is exactly what Stephen's saying, is that we get out of our own way. Yeah, we just make it so easy for the people that want to work with us. No, good stuff. So there was bits and pieces in there about, you know, Jacinta, your chat about working with a PM and or a VA and how we can make that happen. So I want to get, you know, right down and do. I guess for me, I looked at that question with Kirk, and it was a big one around what's traction mean to you. And your one is, I feel like you just need to leave today with 10 or 12 things that are kind of do's and don'ts in that space. You know, rather than one big answer, 10 or 12 little ones would be the way to go. So we'll just fire our way through some of those more personal and practice-based opportunities as we go. What do you reckon, Stephen? Is that sort of how you saw us framing up tonight, mate?
Yeah, I think so much happens on these group calls organically. Like, you just lean into whatever's happening, and I'm good with that. I think let's just flow with it.
Yeah, cool. All right. Well, Susan, can we start with you? I got something from Susan. It was around programs and clicking meetings, and when is it that you sign people up, and when is it that you provide extra information and that kind of I don't know, that kind of space. What are you thinking, Susan? What's going on for you there?
Yeah, it's not a really. Yeah, mine was not a super big question for this month. I think I've got other stuff that I'd love to talk about one-on-one with you at a later stage, so an opportunity with a very different audience, and going from public to private. But the question for this session was more around, with my clicking meetings, I haven't had a huge number of leads this quarter so far, but the leads I've had, my conversion rate's been really good. It's been sort of my saviour, because otherwise it wouldn't have been as good as it has been. But what I was wondering was, when I'm having those clicking meetings and I'm talking about, I'm obviously doing all the green sheet stuff, and the person's being very well heard, and you know, you're relaying that back to them, and then I'm making the offering, and they sound so keen, you know, they really love it, and they're like, this is exactly what I need. And then what I do, because I feel like it's not a small amount of money to say I want to do this to, is I say, I'll send you the program approach via email, have a read of it, have a look at it, maybe discuss it with your partner, whatever that looks like, and I'll touch base with you next week. And I set a time and a date, and I do a follow-up call. And so it sort of gives them time, rather than committing there and then and sort of signing up and taking a deposit. And that's the way I've done it all the way through for the last quarter and a half since I started doing this. And I'm just wondering, should I just be getting them there and then, or should I be still giving them that period of time? You just get them. Really?
Yeah, there's something. Look, I mean, only you can sense the energy in the room at the time, and you don't ever want to be pushy, right? But if you're like, there's a neuro influence thing, right? And like, if you go in prepared with, if it can be almost as simple as saying something along the lines of, you know, if you commit today, I can offer you a special source something. It might be a diagnostic or something that that normally would cost them money, and we'll just work out what that thing is. Don't discount, because we don't discount, but say, you know, just find something that's high value to them, right?
Yeah.
Based on if you've done an empathy map on who they are, and, you know, so that whatever you say will feel like you're speaking to them. So it won't feel like selling, right?
Yeah.
But you do want to try and rather than send them something by email, have it printed out with you so that you can take them through it. Like, even if it's a one-page program structure.
I do.
Program
I
page.
do. Yeah, I do that, but then because it's usually over the phone, they're not really face to face.
Okay.
And I do go through what the program entails, and you're like, yes, and then it's working well. And people are saying to me when I follow up on Monday, and Monday's always the day you're going to fix your health, they will go, I knew on Thursday when I spoke to you it was a yes, so you know, really happy to go forwards. Or there are people that just not, look, it's not for me, it's the price point, you know. And so at the time of the call, I reckon I would have got a yes.
Okay, so you don't do face-to-face click meetings? Are they mostly over the phone?
They're mostly over the phone because they're queries to my existing clinic, new inquiries a lot of the time, or referrals from other people. And we'll talk on the phone. I've only had like 3 meetings face to face. And even then I've kind of gone to the, look, I'll email you the program approach and then let's talk again. So yeah.
So there's almost like there's a double-edged sword with this, because you can, the great thing about it being on the phone is you can script it really, really well, and they're not going to know. If you can artfully kind of talk around the script, they're not going to know you're talking to a script, and then you've got it right in front of you so you don't miss anything out, right? But then there's that other part of you're not in the room with them, so there's not the whites of the eyes and that exchange of energy. But
It sounds like.
Sorry, go ahead, Sharon.
It sounds like if they have said to you that they knew straight away, is it a matter of you asking them the question like at the end rather than going to the point about I'll send you something by email? Is it that point about making?
Yeah, well, now I've begun to get that kind of feedback, like it was a yes and it was going to be a yes regardless of whether I had the time to stop and really mull over it. That's why this question's come up for me, because I'm like, am I doing this the right way? Maybe if it was a much higher price point, they still need that cooling off period. Or do I say, look, you know, let's take a deposit today, get you all set up, get your toolbox, you know, on the way, and then give them a cooling off period.
Susan, can I ask a clarifying question? Do you have an issue with, after the clicking meeting, having people who you thought were buying, but then 2 days later they change their minds?
Do I have a problem with that? Yeah.
Is that happening? Is that happening for you?
No, it's not.
Is that happening?
No, it's not happening. No, it's not an actual issue.
Yeah.
No.
For me, I think you might be questioning about yourself about something, and slightly advice mode here, so tell me where to go. You might be questioning yourself about something that you don't need to worry about. If you don't have a drop-off, getting high conversion at clicking meeting rate, then clearly you're differentiating the way that you're tackling different people reasonably effectively. So it's really just being prepared for any drop-off or it's refining the process so that you don't get that drop-off, really. So for me, I sort of, you know, is there a gap problem? Is there a gap that when you leave the office, they change their mind? If the answer is no, then you're obviously doing something right. If it's a yes, then you might be thinking about what would be the reason that someone would drop off. Now, if the price point comes up occasionally, as you mentioned, that I'm wondering whether that could be 2 things. One, could it be the conversation with the partner that happens and they go, oh, hang on, we're saving for a house at the moment, and, you know, that's not, you know. Or 2, is it that they potentially, for me, I guess I'm sitting here, if I'm going to entrust something like a program around my health, I wonder whether I want to clap eyes on you. You know,
right.
The phone call may not be providing you with adequate trust to seal that to seal that. So I'd just be thinking about little things like that. So what's the one-page fact sheet for partners that you could prepare about why this is important for your life partner? Or secondly, just could you take some of your sales calls to Zoom or show up in person wherever you can, so that the trust elements can be built quicker?
Yeah. And I have had a couple of coffee meetings, and when I've done bus scouts recently, I have that, after having seen your next steps form, having the coffee meeting as well as the phone call to maybe look at working together as an option. And yeah, I've got, you know, a couple of people who've tipped coffee meeting after a bus scout I did last week. So yeah, I'm really happy to meet people face to face. I hadn't thought about that from a building trust perspective. Yeah, cool. It just means, I think it's just going to make the conversion even easier.
What they're going to put in their mouths and how they're going to move as a result of talking to you. Like, that's a pretty personal decision to make. You know, I want to trust them who's advising me on that.
And they also want to know that you look like you're healthy and you kind of talk the talk and walk the walk too, I guess.
I reckon there's a little bit of that too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
Cool.
Okay, thanks.
Do you have anything else you wanted to get stuck into tonight?
No, I think I'm good.
Hey, Sharon, what's going on for you? You had some stuff around programs, and there was food stuff as well, wasn't there?
Oh, the question I sent through to you was just to get some thoughts and feedback on the title for the book I'm working on at the moment. So I've been
let's go. Let's spitball that. Yeah. Tell us about the program titles you're considering.
Yeah, so the idea is, so the working title is Team Lunches, the Power of Eating Together to Create Connected Workplace Cultures. That's the working title, but my key question is whether changing it to Eating Together or Eating Together at Work might be a better title, which is what I'm leaning towards. And so the program that goes with that is going into workplaces and talking to them about the benefits of eating together to create connection. So the three kind of key things are around socialization, you know, being social, having informal conversations as a way to connect, and how that creates better relationships and more openness and contributes to innovation and creativity and appreciation, so like gratefulness around food. So it's around those elements that come out of eating together as a simple activity to drive better relationships, better conversations, more openness, and therefore helps to contribute to retention, and there's stats around growth. And so better workplace cultures, which is not my expertise, but that's the kind of benefit, is the outcome. So the program will be around setting that up. So going in, and I'm thinking, you know, I could easily go in and talk about why we eat together. There's a whole lot of stuff around that, what the benefits are, and then the program will be helping them, like facilitating, getting a team together from their workplace to facilitate the creation of a program around having like lunches or eating together. Could be once a month, could be once a week, could be daily or what have you. So I've been doing lots of interviews to provide content for it. And it's a simple idea, but with a lot of benefits from a workplace culture perspective.
I had some thoughts.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if you're aware, but I worked for a decade in global advertising before I became a thought leader, and as in the sense of what I'm doing now, and I was thinking about big word, and I was thinking what would be a big word that really stands out, in an airport. You know, if you were thinking book title, and what came to mind was famished, and then I was thinking, hang on, no, that's not right, because it says we're starving for something, and then I was like, oh, hang on a minute, we're starved for connection, right?
Yeah, that's it.
And so I was thinking about if you could tie something powerful like that in with, because the power of eating together at work to transform culture, to build stronger, build trust. You could research it right back, and you know, it takes a village. You know, there's that whole context around around families and fellowship through food, and like it just has such a beautiful and rich repository of stuff you can draw on. But eating together and framing it in that way doesn't necessarily do it for me. I think I want to. It's almost like I want to hear about the problem you're solving in the book title, in a subtitle or something. So it's super clear. And so if you said something, and I'm just totally shooting from my hip here. So if it was like, say the book was called Famished, overcoming workplace breakdown through team lunches or something like that. Like try and be creative and tie it together, like a left brain on a green sheet. Anyway, that was just something that I looked at that half an hour ago, so it was just what came to my mind. So
that's great.
I want to echo a bit of what Stephen's saying there too. When I got your email, I printed it out, and of the 3 titles there, I was really clear that the one I liked the most was Team Lunches, and it's not the lunch thing; it's the team thing.
Yeah.
It's the value that you provide is not about how you teach people to eat together.
That's the thing.
You provide is in that deeper next step.
The connection.
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 Stephen's word there around fellowship resonated really strongly with me, because they're all points of difference that busy businesses just don't have. And it's what people say they remember about being in cultures that they valued. It's always the ritualized togetherness moment around food, and it's celebrations, it's informal gatherings, and if you're able to distill for people how to make that happen, that's valuable. That's something that people are grappling and grasping for.
Yes.
I think you've got a bigger message than the food.
Sharon,
the food's the message.
Yeah, so the food is just my bridge into this. So it's not actually about the food. So I wanted to make sure that team lunches didn't sound like it's what you put in your lunchbox. But it's about the connection, and then all of those benefits like being more innovative, being more productive, having better relationships, all comes from that connection.
So what is the actual problem you solve?
Well, disconnected workplaces, as in, if there's awkward relationships,
isolation.
People aren't, like
that thing that people go cubicle or in their car. And like
that. So Sharon, the opposite of famished is sort of nourished, and I haven't got the title, but I remember we landed on something for a festival I did a while ago, and it was nourishing facilitation, right? And it just landed. So I'm just wondering if it's not the right words, but it's almost like it's not team nourishment, but if team's the word, it's nourishment, something opposite of famished. I'm just thinking famished is the problem, nourishment's the solution, and we go to these things to fill up. I don't want to say fill up, it's not that, but it's soul food, but it's not soul food, but it's team something. It's
Jacinta, you're on fire.
I like famished, nourished. I don't know, but team nourishment. Maybe play with that for a bit, or nourish your team. How to nourish your team? I don't know. Get Sharon to nourish your team.
Soul food is great.
Soul food. I had an idea, and I know we all know that concept of breaking bread. What about calling it breaking bread and then doing a byline that does the connection culture kind of tie in, so you bring it back to the it being for teams.
The bread build the team.
I've got breaking bread as a pink sheet, but as a title, I hadn't thought of that. So
it would be great if you had some kind of central visual.
Go on, Kurt.
I was wondering if you had like a central visual image, like the round table or an origin story. You know, I was thinking about one team that we always sit at the round table, the boardroom, and that was like a central thing for us. Some way of rooting it in people's visual as well.
Yeah.
I've just got this bagel in my head, or baguette being broken on your book cover. That's
been in France for too long.
And you being,
I was thinking,
you being able, I know I have. Yeah. I think you being able to, Sharon, be the person like what Jacinta's saying about. You don't show people just how to connect. You show them how to be nourished by that connection.
Yeah.
That's. I want that for my team.
I think about just continuously synthesizing the why. So why is there a lack of connection? Why is there team breakdown? And I was that pain in the ass child that just kept asking why. But I think in this situation, it'll get you to the root problem, like the known unspoken problem. And if you can build that into the title some way, or the subtitle, then that's a game changer.
Yeah, I've got the known unspoken as the loneliness, like lonely leaders and just connected teams is what I've got without really testing it so much, but from the research and the reading that I've done so far, that's and we know from a population social context that's probably the next big social health problem is social isolation and loneliness. And
I think
there's research showing.
I think what's also unspoken is they know that their Friday morning teas or their after work drinks aren't fixing that.
Yeah.
That's a shortcut. You're saying you're kind of there. The food and the food and the drink idea wasn't bad. You've got to do it in such a way that it nourishes people rather than they feel like they have to go.
Yeah, that's it. I did an interview with someone just the other day that touched on pretty much that. Like you can do it like what they call not token food, but something like that, like pretending,
Awesome. That valuable to you, Sharon, that conversation? That good?
That's great. Yeah, thanks very much, everyone.
Cool.
Thank you.
Hey, Jacinta.
Oh, hi. My question was just because I couldn't think of one, so I don't really have to talk about that. I just got the shits with my administration person. It's causing me more drama than help. So wondering if anyone else had the same problem. How's your VA going, Susan?
I don't have one yet. I'm my VA.
I think I might go back to that. It's just a drama.
Did you see my thread on Central? And I can't remember who it was. I think it was Julia Steele who gave some really valuable advice around how there's more work in the work of bringing someone on and weighing that up based on where your practice is at with the amount of stuff you've got to do. So I've sort of not put a pause on it. It's definitely something that's going to happen probably next quarter. And I'll do the gun VA thing, but I haven't brought anyone in yet. So you had somebody though, hadn't you? Had a recommendation from another business school person?
Yeah, and it's okay. I just was interested in other people's experience. You've got to spend a lot of time, more time than I thought, I think, but also be wary of false promises, I think. Oh yeah, I can do that, and there's just no trust anymore. So. They're fine. They're a nice person, but Jesus, I've spent all my time doing administrivia and no sales, shitty quarter. So I'm pretty unhappy.
Got the kick in the teeth, eh?
Pardon?
Got the kick in the teeth this quarter, eh?
Yes, I've lost my green tip. And I'm just also conscious of, Stephen just said then we don't discount, but I definitely have to discount for something coming up. There's no way I can offer extra value. If I offer extra value for this, I'll miss out on it. And it's also helping out someone I know, so I have to do that. But and I think I'm going to say no to something because it's just terrible money, and I'll feel really exploited and ripped off.
Yeah.
But, yeah, resentful.
How did you
So
buy?
the first one I'm okay with. I can discount and look, it's fine. The second one I'm going to feel resentful. So I'm not going to do that. And
so
I think I'm
you know that in advance. You already know that before you've gone in. You know what you will and won't do, which is so good.
I've already told her. I said if there's corporates in the room, if it's a room full of emerging leaders, I'm happy to do it, and I'll bust my little ass off, big ass off. But I'm not going to do it if they're not corporates. It's for a uni, and I've done stuff for them before, and they've got all my intellectual property on video really cheap. So yeah. So I don't really have much to share.
Guide us a bit on what would be, how could we be of service to you tonight? Is it this BMVA question, or is it a shitty quarter question, or is it a practice question? How can we help you with this question?
I think my question was going to be something along the lines of how do other people deal with it?
With the shitty quarter, resilience, and how you look after yourself as a thought leader at these times.
No, I'm really good at that. I've got that covered. No one's more resilient than me. I keep turning up my yoga mat even though I can't do a back bend. So no, I've been told that what I do at yoga is resilience manifest. So I don't really need much help there, I don't think.
Yeah. What is it then? What is it you need our help with?
Well, I don't think you can really help because I think it's about not really feeling confident in my IP, I think. So yeah, I might just listen. Someone else can talk.
Can I encourage you then? That little exchange we had a few weeks ago about your white paper, and I was so excited for you around just the clarity around the offer and the models, and I was like, this is really gold. You're in your happy place. And yeah, so I just want to encourage you to hang on to that because that's actually the truth, right? And I think, yeah, you know, there's, I think the things that I think about when in shitty quarters is rather than discounting, how can I repackage something that I'm doing that is highly valuable, right, to sell it a lot cheaper without devaluing the IP or giving it away, right?
Yeah, and I think I came up with something yesterday that I might test. But keep going.
Yeah, but that's all I was thinking. Like, if the actual program or package you're trying to sell is not selling, you're not selling enough, it's not scaling fast enough, or whatever. What's the element that they really, really need the most, and then repackage an element of that so that it's super accessible for people, so that you get cash flow, and you can make that a pointy end into your other program even. Like there's so many creative ways you can flex the IP. If you want to have a chat about that this week, we can do that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've got lots of little elements that I know work really well. So the biggest client I have, the thing I did in the morning with their change learning circle with project managers and change leaders was 10 out of 10. They were really happy. So easy to do. God, I could do it with my eyes closed. And then in the afternoon, you know, I did the big thing and that was fine. But the little things that I can do, I need to find my market to sell it to, and who's buying are people I don't know, HR, right? So I'm doing the Amy Clymer sort of sell thing strategy as well and trying to reach out to them. So I do have all these little components I can sell, and yesterday I came up with creating collaborative habits. So once I got that, I thought, oh, there's my blogs for the next year, really. Every week there'll be a new habit, and that made me feel better. But I think where I fall down is I can hear all the voices from different quarters saying, if they won't have a meeting with you, you haven't got a market. But the people who'll have a meeting with me aren't the people who are necessarily buying. They're the ones who use me for my miscellaneous cluster. So I'm probably just going into a bit of a bunny hole, and I won't bore the rest of you with that. But thanks, Stephen. I'll take you up on that offer if I've got to test a few things. And the brochure's good. The brochure's getting good feedback that you looked at, and I've revised the white paper and it's getting good feedback. And the DG of the client group said, oh, maybe we need to put collaborability into our capability framework. So, you know, I know when I do get a sale, it's working and people appreciate it, but it's finding that market. I'm not XHR, I'm not, you know, it's just hard to find the market.
Do you know any of your contacts? Can any of your contacts introduce you to anybody in HR?
Yeah, they have. Yeah, and I need to do more of that too. Good point. Yep.
Are you doing any bus scouts at the moment, Jacinta?
I'm exhausted from bus scouts. I did my the big Canberra thing, and that was quite good because I gave myself a 6 out of 10 for the first bus scout, and as I went over the week, I gave myself a 10 out of 10. I gave myself a 10 out of 10 for the public bus scout, but you know, I got one lead and lots of phone calls and connections and blog sign-ups, and I just got to practice my IP, and they turned my model upside down, and they added all these negative things that Linda correctly pointed out I needed to help people with my model. So it was good. It was good practice. It went well, and I got better over the week. Yeah, and I've got a bus scout booked for Melbourne, which I really don't feel like doing, but I'll do it. And I'm lining up another internal bus scout. So
awesome. Keep at it.
Yeah, I don't know.
It'll pay off.
This confidence, you talking there, Jacinta, about the voices, you know, that tell you that, you know, that if you haven't got this, you haven't got that. If you're not good enough at this, then you're not going to get that. And I don't know, Steve, I know you, like me, took up an offer to do a little bit of time as some of the black belt practice with Matt and Pete. And they really challenged me around some of those things that I say in my head that aren't useful to me. And they said it's allowed to be untrue. It's just not allowed to be, you know, it's just not allowed to be useless. Or it's not allowed to, whatever. And I know that myself, my own psychology, my confidence comes very much from results. So when there aren't results, my confidence takes a hit. And so I just have to really, in those times, I just have to have a lot of scrutiny over what I allow to go through my head and what I don't. And it has to be useful. Yeah, so there has to be, if I do the whole, but if you don't get this, then you don't get that, then I'm just dealing in don't land, and I've got to try and find myself saying will more than don't. And so if I do this, then I will get that. Or if I get this paper, if I get this white paper written in 3 hours this morning, I will be able to send it to 15 people. You know, so that's a result. It's not a dollar, but it's a result. And I find that my confidence grows from getting stuff done. I'm a bit of a list ticker, and so I've just find that because I can hurt myself over confidence as well. Jacinta, what you said there about voices really just made a little shiver, you know, moment. I can damage myself over that pretty easily, and so I've got to really have some conscious mechanisms in place around what I allow through when my confidence isn't coming from tangible results. I don't know if that's useful or not, but that's kind of how I try to tackle shit quarters that hit my confidence.
No, that's good. Thank you.
And Jacinta, can I add something? Because I feel I was going through the same thing about a month ago, and it's probably, you know, right on the edge. Just because I had one success doesn't mean it's not waiting there if I don't get my ass in gear for a second one. But every time I've sat with you, every time I've watched you organize a VFN, you bring incredible life to situations. And I'm just wondering, is there something that you're not selling now, but that you're already doing really well that you could sell? Bringing people together is just really something that seems like a magical thing you do that I've never seen anybody else do. I'm just wondering, how can we find what you're already doing and put a price tag on it?
Yeah, that's the big question for this group. So when Stephen said before, Jacinta, you're on fire, that's a thing that Linda said that I do really well.
Yeah.
And it's not just fire. You know, I've done it for you, I've done it for John, I've done it my whole life. I should have been in advertising. Like, how do I do that? How do I come up with those words? How do I sell that? And that connection thing, absolutely. I want to sell, you know, create a salon in Melbourne, and you know, but these are the legacy things. Like, no one's going to come to those things, but you know,
I would.
yeah, yeah. Anyway, the collaboration stuff is meant to be the easy stuff. That's just what I was doing anyway. Like that was just shit. I've got to do something. None of my other clusters are working, like the ones I came to for Q1 for. And I sat down with you, Stephen, for 20 minutes with it, and I said, "Oh, I've just done this. Quick, let's do that. That's my cluster." So, you know, and for the last 3 quarters, that's what I've been trying to figure out. That's not even that's just stuff that I do. It's just, I've just clustered up my miscellaneous thing. But, you know, the other stuff, yeah, who's got time to develop that intellectual property if there's no money coming in? But yeah, you're right. Thanks, Kirk. Thanks for the vote of confidence. Yep, I do have the 3 words, and I'm happy with my practice branding, which is now connect, communicate, collaborate. I'm happy with that. That sits nicely.
Yeah, awesome.
And the problem I solve way back, Corinne said it in onboarding, is disconnection. Like, I connect people to each other, I connect people to ideas, I connect people to their audience. So I'm happy with those big picture things. It's now, what are the little offerings? And who's going to buy it?
Amazing.
Sense. Cool. I just want Kirk, we're going to switch over to you, mate. I just wanted to acknowledge that Mark is on the line. I don't know. So I think, Stephen, am I right that Mark can hear us? We can't hear him at the moment. Is that right? He's just tuned in.
He can hear and see us, but we can't see or hear him.
We've got him as some sort of, like, he's having some webcast of us at the moment.
The ghost of Trulson's past.
And you make him the presenter and then
the Brave Bunch. Yeah. All right, Kirk.
Yes.
Traction.
Yeah.
Yeah, what's going on, man? So tell us, first of all, could you tell us the tale, the story of how, because you've come from, you're under no compulsion to share anything of your recent history and how tough this has been for you lately, but you've come from a place that's been tough, and you've been able to get to a point where you've made a significant sale. And I described what I saw as traction, which is what I think you've been searching for. But I think that's my projection onto you of what I'm seeing. So now, tell us a bit about the tale of how you've gotten to this point over the last couple of months.
Well, I'm trading on some legacy. I've worked with this organization, Homespring Institute. 15 years ago, I ran a series of innovation workshops with them, and then I ran a series of leadership production. And I knew the CEO really well during that time, and so I contacted her about a year ago, maybe 6 months ago. You know, we started talking about doing some work at that point, but there was about 4 people that I thought were like real short I had as legacy knowledge, and they said, not yet. And I was really frustrated. How do I move this not yet into a today thing? And so yeah, it was very much a matter of just trading in on that. They came back to me and she said, yes, of course I remember you, Kirk. I'd love to do some work. What do you got? And I gave her 3 things, and she bought 2 of each of them. And I should have given her 4 things, maybe. But as I said, I don't have to feed her everything all at once. I can, you know, there can be ongoing things. And the main thing is to get engaged. I'm going to be working with the deans and the head of departments and so forth. And from that can be a whole trickle on flow of other work to do with, you know, once we're working on 3 things: performance management, or performance development, culture, and wellness. And each of those things are things that can be ongoing projects. I'm looking at how I can run some of them online. I think which would be much more conducive for on-selling. It'll be cheaper for them, and faculty trying to find time in their schedule to come to a face-to-face workshop. It's much easier to do it online. Yeah, so that's been my sort of little windfall. But I'm very aware that, I mean, there's a bunch of stuff to do that now, putting together the proposal. I have to hire a contractor for 2 of the days as well. Once I put that together, it's a $40,000 package. So the next thing is, how do I keep on going now, though, not just say, yay, I won, and then sit on a pile of gold like a dragon.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah.
That's fabulous.
But you mentioned, and just to share, that's the yay side of it. But as I've told you, Adam, I may have told you as well, Stephen, I'm just into you now. My family's been going through a lot of struggle recently, so it's been also a time when I haven't been giving as much time to this as I could be, and just to be aware, that we all go through that times when it's not always like hit the ground and head down, bum up ish.
Mm-mm. One of the things that I sell big programs, Kirk. So, and I find that I'll sell 2 big programs, and then so what I'm about to say is it's a cash flow problem, because I sell big programs and then I get into the delivery, and unless I've either got someone helping me develop the pipeline or I've got a fabulous pipeline consistently going, then it's sort of the antithesis of sitting on the pile of gold like the dragon. You just actually get your head down in delivery, and you don't have the actual capacity to do the meetings and the selling. So, and that's a problem that every thought leader has. And I think if there's a way that you can engineer into your practice, that you can have specific days that you do specific things, so that you say, I only deliver on Tuesday to Thursday, Mondays are my thinking days, and Friday are my selling days. Something, even if it's that simple, and you structure the morning of every Thursday and the afternoon of every Monday for selling, like whatever that looks like for you, whatever kind of works well for your market, I guess, is probably the way I would do it. But then you're not ever going to be in a situation where, because you'll have a finger on your pulse of your pipeline, so you'll know, and you can even outsource some of it to people if you need to spend more time with your family. Your practice isn't suffering because you have to spend time with your family. You can actually focus on your delivery and love and handhold your clients and everything, but you can be having someone else support you with the lead generation and the setting up of meetings, and then all you've got to do is have the conversations, right? Yeah, because I made that mistake for 2 years, and it became debilitating. And about midway through last year, I got so angry. That's what actually happened. I was so despondent and angry at having the ability to sell these big programs, but not being able to scale them. And it was my own fault. It wasn't my fault. It was my own pattern, and so I didn't realize it, but I was actually self-sabotaging just because I was trying to do everything on my own. Yeah. And it wasn't systematized. That's I guess the moral to this story. It wasn't systematized. And the moment I put a system around structuring my week, everything changed. It was such a powerful shift from just systematizing my week around thinking, selling, and delivering.
That's good to hear, Stephen, because I was wondering, I'm still setting up a public program, so I have something to just talk about. Oh, I'm doing something then, I'm doing something then. I'm still setting up some public programs during this time, just to keep that sort of part of the conversation going with new people coming in, and I was wondering, am I being stupid doing that? And you're saying that it helps me. Thanks. Yeah.
Blogging, which I don't do enough of, but I have lots of conversations, right? I'm about to start podcasting and blogging again in a big way, but it's about having the conversations. However you have the conversations, whether that's virtually or in a bus scout or however you're having them, it's got to keep having them because they feed the pipeline.
I'm doing that whole thing in my head, Kirk, of having remembered someone give me some advice, and I can't remember who it was. But I remember it was either like a Darren Hill or a Rowdy McLean, I think, that said to me that when he's busy, he does sales at 7 a.m. So it's 30 minutes at 7 a.m. that he sends the follow-up emails, that he writes a quick blog, that he sets the reminders to make the phone calls. And Pete's thing with me, I know that he's hit me about this all the time, is that I'm not allowed in the car to listen to SEN sports radio unless I've made the calls from the car that I need to keep my sales focus going. Done those calls, then I can listen to SEN, and listen to mine all about sport. So it's just, they're almost like just little daily life hacks. But if you did 30 minutes of sales at 7 a.m. every day, that's 2.5 hours sales a week. That can be productive when you're in busy times. To just get yourself and just keep that third hat of think, sell, deliver. Just keeping that third plate spinning, I suppose. Even in times of busy delivery, I think is important. So I do like Stephen. I worry over the cash flow issues and the lumpiness that I create for myself when I go through large periods of my calendar where I've forgotten to sell.
Lumpiness is a good way of describing it.
Lumpiness,
Sounds more positive than it is, doesn't it? Trophiness.
Kirk, I really liked what Stephen was saying about systematizing, and now that you're embarking on this first client that you've signed up, it sounds like a really good opportunity to make sure that from the outset you've got your systems in place, and your VA, when you bring them on, just goes, okay, that's how you do that. Created procedures and systems around it as well. So that's really handy.
Creating that manual on how this program gets rolled out. So you know what those components are that need to be attended to. But if people saw you drop off and fall away from, they wouldn't buy.
So there's a sense of momentum with this as well, having a client like this that I can go to other TAFEs and so forth and say, I'm working with them, work with this. And having the cash flow coming in from this, which won't come in for a couple of months, when the delivery will be. But it leads to the idea that I can start setting up a system around having a VA and some of those other things. It's a great thing for me to be starting to think about. I really like too what you said around having a day set aside. I'm trying to leave Wednesdays and Fridays sacred for other things than delivery, but we'll see how it goes.
Good stuff. Did you get what you needed out of that conversation, Kirk?
Yes, thank you.
Yep. All right, great. So, folks, we've whipped around the table. Is there anything unsaid or unasked in our session today that you wanted to take the opportunity about? Going.
Did you bring us back some cheese from France, Adam?
Mate, they've actually said, how sometimes you go to places with preconceptions about what the food, like I think a lot about food, and you go with preconceptions about what food you're going to enjoy, and then you get surprised. Like I'm not a big duck eater, but France and duck is just outrageous. I was obsessed with the duck over there, and then Italy, I wasn't surprised. It was the pasta. You know, it was, you know, I may not ever be able to eat pasta in Australia again. It broke me. I did that whole thing of I'm renowned in my family for cooking a really fantastic lasagna. And then I'm eating Italian lasagna and I'm thinking, I don't like these people anymore. No one in my family knows.
We'll have to eat it.
I know how much better at it than they are than I am, and that upset me marginally, as good as it was.
Hey, but Adam, the French, and I lived in France for ages, is Je parle français, and they just do shitty coffee. So you're in the right, you're in the right town for coffee. So, and the Italians do coffee okay, but Melbourne, you can't beat Melbourne.
No, yeah, absolutely spot on. If there was one thing I'd just totally agree, Jacinta.
And I can recommend some French restaurants. I'll send you a list of good French restaurants. I don't eat meat, but the duck apparently is fantastic. So there's a few in Melbourne.
I'll have a go at that. That was awesome. Yeah. All right. Thanks, guys. Have a great night. Sleep well.
Thanks, everyone.